Well, for the first time in several years, Bowling Green a very good chance to start 1-0. So welcome Michael Burwell, the Bowling Green beat writer for the Toledo Blade. And Michael, thank you for joining us once again on College Football Weekly.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Fordham, a formidable opponent for BG in Week 1, but they are an FCS team.
Right. Really interesting. They're not facing, power conference opponent or even like a team like Liberty last year. First time since Leffler's debut, or head coach Scott Leffler's debut in 2019, that they faced an FCS opponent. But it's going to be an interesting game. Fordham's got a really good offense. They have tons of playmakers on offense, and BG can't really sleepwalk through this. I mean, they got Penn State and Texas A&M up next on the schedule, but they can't look past Fordham this week.
With the talent Fordham has, particularly offensively, is that going to stress that Bowling Green defense?
I think it can, for sure. From what Loeffler and the players are saying, Fordham really likes to push the pace. They like to go in a hurry on offense. Quarterback C.J. Montez, who for 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, only had one interception last year, which is really impressive. They got a great running back as well. Most of their top receivers are back. I think without a doubt, BG's defense is going to be pressured, but at the same time, BG's defense is loaded at every level. I mean, they have so many starters back, some great transfer portal additions, especially in the secondary. So it'll be interesting. I think Fordham's going to be able to move the ball, but if BG can force some turnovers, then I think that's going to be a real positive for them.
And I think bigger picture, one thing you just said there is kind of important, that a lot of guys are coming back, and that's not just defensively. Offensively, a lot of guys coming back. As if you go back to last December, it seemed like every day we were getting a new message about I'm back. All those guys coming back, giving Scott Leffler his most experienced team.
Oh, without a doubt. That was such an important stretch for BGSC's football program and for Scott Leffler. I mean, to have guys like Jordan Oladokun coming back, Harold Fannin, tight end, could go probably anywhere he wanted to, and he stays right here in BG. That was so big for the program. They only lost, they lost 3 pretty significant players to the transfer portal, had maybe another 4 or 5 complete their college eligibility. Mm-hmm. Other than that, pretty much everyone's back, and that's really saying something. 32 seniors on this team, I think 24 juniors. So many players have played so much college football. Even the transfers they brought in seem like the real deal as well. This is, by far, Scott Leffler's most talented and experienced team that he's had here in BG.
Quentin Morris has found some success in the NFL as a tight end. Harold Fannin could be that next Falcon to the NFL.
He really can, and I'll tell you what, that first practice in late July, open to the media, he looked pretty darn good. Such a talented player, about 240 pounds, 230 pounds, I think 6'4", just runs really well. It's just his hands, it's like glue. He just catches everything. Had a great catch along the sideline on one play. He is such a great talent. And I think he's continuing to mature. He's continuing to, do the right things off the field, especially to really prepare himself for on the field. He had a great season last year, and with the weapons that BG has on offense surrounding him, he could have an even bigger year this year.
Another one of those big weapons, Terrion Stewart out of Sandusky. We know if he's healthy, he can run the ball. That's been the issue, though, staying healthy. Who do they have if Stewart's unable to go?
Yeah, if he's unable to go, they have a couple seniors in Jason Patterson, Jamal Johnson, who have been there for a while. They have a lot of experience as well. Pretty solid runners. Terrion's on another level, though. His tackle breaking ability is it's amazing to watch. He's not very tall, but he's just a bowling ball. It's hard to tackle him. Just huge legs. He's on a different level. But if he is injured, they do have some options. Brought in a good transfer wide receiver who could be a factor in the passing game as well. They have a ton of freshmen on the roster. 4 or 5 that they brought in. Some of them are huge. We're talking 6'1", 220, 230. They look like trucks as freshmen in high school. So I think that running back room is really deep. So in case Terrion goes down, they definitely have some options.
One of the big question marks we have going into Thursday night, the overall health of the team. Scott Loeffler admitted there's been some injuries, but he hasn't been very forthcoming as to who has been dinged up.
Yeah, right away in his latest press conference, he mentions we've had an injury-ridden camp, and that's not what you want to hear, obviously. Going into the week 1 here, 2-3 players could have had season-ending injuries. Didn't say who or what the injuries were. We'll probably find that out pretty soon here, but that's a big concern. I mean, this team is poised and appears ready to not only contend but maybe win the MAC championship. The biggest thing that's going to hold them back is injuries. I mean, if they, if some of those stars on offense, especially at the quarterback position, if some of those top players go down, I mean, they have depth, they can adjust, but it's not the same without some of those key players.
They've been playing football at Bowling Green State University for over 100 years. No one has averaged more yards per carry in that time than Terrion Stewart. You understand why it's so important to keep him healthy and ready for the Falcons. I want to thank Michael Burwell from the Toledo Blade for joining us to talk Falcons football.